we are going to record the webinar for after as well. I'm Jessica Wirt, the Customer Success Manager here at Simplesoft. And today we're going to cover some topics from Infor and some topics on CRM usage. So just a couple of items before we get started. We're going to have everyone hang on mute. If you have questions throughout the webinar, feel free to send them to the chat box and we will address those in the Q&A portion at the end. And I also just wanted to quickly touch on, we will be sending a follow-up survey this afternoon. It'll also have some links in there for you to subscribe to our blog and our YouTube channel. They're going to be great resources for quick tips and demonstrations of new products and fixes and things that come out. So it would be a good idea to subscribe to those. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. And today's agenda is here. And so we're going to have Stacy White, who's from Infor. She's going to speak about the support they offer and their new platform, the Concierge within Infor. So we're going to go ahead and pass it over to Stacy and let her take over.
Thanks, Jessica. Hi, everybody. Tell you a little bit about myself first. My title is Subscription Services Manager. And I've been with Infor for approximately 19 years now. So any questions about all things Infor, you can absolutely call me. Today, what I want to show you, I think I've at least met or spoken with a number of you guys, so nice to see your initials on the screen here. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the customer benefit statement, and I'm not going to dive into that too much, but I do want to show you guys what is sort of the latest and greatest on Infor Concierge. So let me get into this really quick. I'm going to share first the benefits and just kind of go over. Somebody tell me if you can see my screen.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So basically, when we talk through the CBS, we go over Concierge, and that also we talk about Infor support and how that works with your relationship with Simplesoft. Go over a couple of different support levels. We talk about R&D a little bit more in regard to the enhancement request system. Cloud where it's appropriate, upgrades where it's appropriate. We talk about Infor education. I'm going to give you a little more information today even about Inforum. And then, of course, Infor has user communities in addition to Simplesoft, so that's out there as well. And then lastly, in the CBS, we talk about the ambassador program. So if you're interested in running through that on a little deeper dive, just let me know. I'm happy to go through it. So Infor Concierge, probably you have an idea that it is at least out there and possibly haven't taken a look at it in a while. We are doing updates and releases every 2 weeks to this product. So if you haven't been out there in a while, go take a look. I'm gonna give you a quick overview today. But of course, you'll be looking at my information, so it'd be worth taking a look at your own information. But this, I'll send this over to Jessica so she can send it out in the follow-up package. But this is sort of a circular table of contents, I guess you would say, on everything that's available to you out on Infor Concierge. And I'm going to, take you through it and show it to you kind of on an individual. All of these things that are represented here are widgets that are out on Infor Concierge. So, and then real quick before we jump into the actual Concierge demo, I wanted to let you know that Inforum this year is in Las Vegas. And if you don't know what Inforum is, it's our big customer appreciation event along with education, and there's some keynote type speakers. So it's in Vegas this year. It's a 3-day event, and early bird registration is now officially open. So I'm going to stop sharing quick and go over to the browser. Okay, tell me, Jessica, if you came with me.
Just reshare your screen.
Yeah, try this again.
Here we go. We can see it.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So this is Infor Concierge as it looks today. I'm in my live system. So what you run into first things first is this top banner. There's a lot more information down here. The top banner is two things that are kind of figured that were the most important things. The ability to get immediately to a search without having to click through the tabs as it exists on our portal now, our support portal. So immediately, that's the very first thing that you see. And, like any other search, you can narrow this down to what you're actually looking for. So if you're just looking for documentation, you can click here. Just, pretty self-explanatory. And then over here, of course, these are all Infor incidents, right? So there's a lot of information here, but basically it's just a wheel that shows you what you've currently got open. It would include incidents that Simplesoft has logged on your behalf to give you just a quick overview of exactly what's going on with your support inquiries. And then the third thing that they thought was important to move up out of the bottom widget section is the ability to add a new incident. And that takes you through just a pretty standard wizard. If you've logged incidents with us before, it's not really that different. It's just that it's a lot simpler to get to on Concierge. The other important thing about Concierge is that it is a single sign-on. So where you used to have to log into the portal, log into communities, log into education, and anything else that would sort of leave the portal, so to speak, everything is here on Concierge with a single sign-on, which is your current Infor credentials. So you don't have to go get new credentials or anything like that. It's what you have currently. So I've mentioned a couple times, these are all widgets. So Concierge is very mobile friendly, and I'm going to show you in a minute where you can customize all this information. But this is, the welcome to Infor Concierge that's got everything kind of at your fingertips. You can search knowledge base articles here. We talked about the enhancement request system, which I would take a deeper dive with anyone that would want, to talk more deeply about that. But you can track it here. You can follow enhancements. You can follow your own. You can vote on others and that kind of thing. And then if you've got invoices that are open, you can actually now you can view them here and actually click out to pay them if they're under 10K, actually right here on the website. So that's pretty handy. Events are here if you wanted to click through, but there's also a widget of its own down below. And then, of course, help. And then here's where you would adjust your profile. The profile that exists in Concierge right now is whatever you have on your Infor portal profile. So if you number one, if you don't have a profile, you would just go to the launch page, and it's like any other website where you would say, sign up here, and customer care will respond within like 24 hours to get you your credentials. So this widget here is pretty handy also. Right up here on top, it's got all of the company open incidents and then any that would be awaiting your review. So just at a glance, you can tell which ones you would need to take a look at. And of course, these numbers are big, again, because it's my profile. But the other handy thing about this one is that you could scroll down through here and see exactly what status they're in. So solution proposed. If Infor is waiting on you guys, it's nice to be able to see that sort of in a glance. If this has been, one day is not a big deal. If it's sitting there 5 days, you might, be curious to look into why that's been waiting. And then on the other side of that, if you see something, I'm not going to see or be for sure I find this here, but if you see a waiting Infor or researching or something like that, same thing. If it's been a few days and you feel like it needs a little bit of a prod, you can always call me, and I can give support a little bit of a poke. And then notifications are going to be anything Number one, if you have subscribed to a knowledge base article that you're following, if there's something that we feel is important to the entire base, so like a critical fix that we know that's going to impact the entire base, we push that out proactively so that you can see with the big red exclamation point that that's something that that needs attention. This is going to be specific to CRM for you guys. So it's specific to the products that you're actually running. And same here, this products and subscriptions that would be specific to CRM and the products that you're actually running yourselves. Education, a little bit about Infor education. There is education available for CRM, but what I will say, especially on a Simplesoft call, is that Infor education is pretty broad and fairly shallow, meaning that we cover everything from, you know, stem to stern and all of that kind of thing, but we don't, Infor won't know, with a few exceptions, but Infor is not really going to know much about your process and the customizations that you guys have built into the system. So that's where Simplesoft shines, really. So for our education, I will say it's incredibly cheap. So it's like $65 per user per year. So for, you know, it might be handy to keep a handful around for new hires and that kind of thing. And again, that's available directly through Concierge, so you don't have to click out and go do research in another whole other area. Under resources, this is another area where you would get to all enhancement requests. And then if you're looking for customer testimonials, this is another area to get to documentation. This is the download center, so where Terry and team would come to get any, you know, patches and fixes and next level software and all that stuff is available. And that's all, this all just kind of comes along because you're on support with Infor. Infor communities can be found here. Again, you don't have to link out to another page. If you're looking at another Infor product, you can get a demo here. This is where you would go if you change hardware, you would go get a software key. So this is kind of a resources type of widget. Subscription services guide, our support operation handbook. So if you're looking for particular response times and all that kind of thing, that's all under this resources widget. So that's the front page. This is the page I really dig a lot. It doesn't allow you to customize this top banner, so we keep that search right up on top so that you can get immediately into knowledge base articles and that kind of thing, training. The thing about this one that's important is that you can edit it, and especially I think for mobile. So all of these that we talked about on the front page are, again, widgets, and as such, they can be clicked and dragged. You can X out of them if you don't want to see them. A lot of folks I know on their phone or their tablet or whatever will keep just, you know, like an incidents widget and a knowledge base widget. And that's all they want because it's your phone screen and doesn't have all that much landscape. So anything you want to appear here, you can change your colors if you want to do that. There's this add widget. Be aware that under add widget that there are widgets that are in process. And so there's going to be some of those out there that are beta as well as still just sort of in development, and it will say so. So any of this stuff that, you know, you would want front and center, you can absolutely rearrange and move things around. So I'm going to cancel. One thing that I would point out here is that a lot of folks will keep their own personal incidents and a separate widget for the company incidents, especially if you're, you know, IT management, CIO type level, so that you can keep an overview of everything that you guys have got going on, as well as everything that you personally have logged. So that's that page. I want to go back. I think I skipped the events widget which is, I may have gotten rid of it. There it is. So events is going to be anything that would be specific to, and it's events as opposed to like a knowledge base article or something like that that would show up. So it's going to be anything that based on your profile, okay, so the way that you've got yourself set up, that concierge thinks would be important to you, and then anything that would be Infor wide. So Inforum is always going to be out there. It's going to be information about, hey, Inforum is coming. We're going to give you more information in a month from now, and then a month from then you're going to get more information. And so Inforum will always be out there, but anything that would be like a learning acceleration event that happens in your area, or even depending on how your profile is set up. So if there's a webinar that's coming that concierge thinks that you would be interested in, it will push that out into events. And it also is smart. So it learns like Google does. If you shop for car parts or shoes or a coat or whatever, it gets smarter. The more you're in concierge, the more it learns about what you're interested in. So that's kind of cool. And you can just kind of look by, town hall meetings, Infor hosted meetings, tech education would be on the technical side, and it's going to be, again, information that is pertinent. And the tech education classes are not necessarily, like if you're located in Ohio, they may be like in Chicago. So they're going to be more of like a regional thing as opposed to a truly, truly local type of a situation. But you can sort by all of that. So lots going on. So I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Again, I think Jessica's got a question and answer at the end. If there's anything that I didn't hit on that you saw on the screen that I didn't talk about that you'd like to know about, absolutely let me know. And then if you're interested in running through a customer benefit statement that would be specific to your business and what you guys are up to, I'm also absolutely happy to do that. So stop sharing.
Yeah, thanks, Stacy. And I know we're running early, which I think everyone's probably okay with. I haven't seen any other questions come over at the moment, but if you think of one, feel free to hit it in the chat and we can touch on it at the end in the Q&A. And like Stacy said, I will include a link to this recorded demo and the information on the concierge in the follow-up email that you'll get today. So I think
we got a little bit extra time if we wanted to cover Kelly's question.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So Kelly asked a question about discussing the enhancements section, and I think this is definitely under your umbrella. So if you wanted to go back in and kind of give about 10 minutes worth of explanation on the enhancements area of the concept.
Sure. Sure.
I think that'd be awesome.
All right, let me go find my screen again. All right, tell me if y'all came with me.
Yep, we can see.
Okay, very good. So, keeping in mind this, again, I'm stating this frequently because this is all my information, so it'll be a little bit different for you. That said, you can go look by product line to find enhancements that are logged. I don't know if they've got me set up under, or if I'm in the wrong profile. It's possible I'm in the wrong profile. So the idea behind our enhancement request system is if there's something that you see or you discover along with Simplesoft that says, that's really technically not what Infor, big caveat there, what Infor would consider standard functionality, but it would be great functionality to have within, a certain business type or within a certain, process that multiple customers would work through or not. If you would just like to see it in the software for yourself, that's, absolutely fine to log an enhancement request. So what happens there is you log the request, and then everybody, so you see this endorsements, rejections, acknowledgements. You can, I'm not sure if I'm going to have anything under my requests. Yeah. But you can vote on these things, and it is a weighted system. So where, there's 2,000 votes on a particular enhancement, or 200 votes, or 20 votes, it matters to product management. So what they do, and this is, I'm giving you guys kind of an overview across the board. This is not specific to CRM. But what they do across the board is they take the top 10 for that particular, I believe they do this quarterly, and they take a look at it, see what people are saying about it, see what needs to happen to get it into the system, and if it's something that's relatively easy for them to do, if it's changing, 2,500 people said that they wanted that button on a different screen. My goodness, let's get that button on a different screen. So when it's relatively easy to do like that, they get it in immediately, and it might come out in a patch as opposed to a major release. Otherwise, they take the top 10, and then they have to, of course, develop whatever the enhancement was to the degree that they can. It's not always exactly perfect, but then it will come out in the next major release. So one other thing that I would say regarding enhancements, there's a couple of things that are really cool about both communities in the enhancement request system. So within the enhancement request system, I always invite people to go out and just take a look through the enhancements, because you may find an enhancement out there that just blows your mind. Like, oh my gosh, if we could have that, that would revolutionize the way we do this particular process. And then also it's that whole thing, vote, your voice matters. So, and you have the ability, I believe, each business, I believe, has the ability to vote 10 times. So it's that whole weighted 10 thing. So you can choose 10 different enhancements that you think would be valuable and vote on those within the system. So, that's a really cool thing. Also, never think that it can't be done, right? So, I'm not going to promise that everything makes it into a release or anything like that, but it's been pretty interesting. Of course, for one thing, CRM is one product, and so it's not like you're voting across 20 products, and the CRM community is actually a pretty tight-knit community, so there's a lot of the same sort of thought processes that go behind what goes into CRM as an enhancement. So any other questions? Did I cover that pretty well?
I think, I don't see anything else on enhancements specifically, but I do see another question on how to get to the education area in Concierge.
Okay, yep. So education has got its own widget here. And again, well, for me, I am set up for CRM, but then you can also go to general. But you would just go through the widget, and then it will show upcoming classes that that are here within the next couple of 2 or 3 months. And then also, I believe it's over here, you get to campus. It's Infor Campus that actually has sort of the broad-based education. And if that's not in here, I'm pretty sure it's over here. I guess I'm going to have to find that. It's here somewhere that you can get directly to education. So I'll find that link. It may not be showing up for me. That's the tricky thing. And I can't log in a big forum like this. When I do the CBS with a specific customer, I log everything in under you, but I can't do that because I can't cross cross-sell information to you guys, so I couldn't log in today. But I will include that link when I send you information, Jessica.
Sounds good.
Yep, and
Okay.
it's Infor Campus is what it is, and it does a pretty good job. It actually does do a pretty good job of having a curriculum that you can or cannot follow. So, you know, CRM 101 like college, and then, you know, sort of an intermediate, and then what they would say as an advanced. I will say that there is absolutely not anything for a development level person. This would all be on how to use the software as an end user. It would not have anything for, you know, the ability to customize. It might touch briefly on different views and such, but it's going to be pretty broad, which is great for someone who's just coming in or just starting a new position. Yeah.
Okay, so the last question we have related to the concierge is about advanced searching in the search area up at the top.
Okay.
And there is an advanced search that you can utilize in the old sales support, or sorry, the old support portal. And here it's kind of asking, is there any kind of advanced search beyond the check boxes to help find like KB articles and that type of thing?
Yes, there actually is. And I, unfortunately, again, because of privacy, I can't show it to you. But down here, where now I would have to type in a company name. So I think Meyer is in attendance today. If it would be their company name, and then there's a drill down here on CRM, and that actually does take you out to what you're used to seeing on the portal that's got that advanced search capability with, you know, dates to and from and those types of things would show up down here under products and subscriptions.
Okay, so basically it just takes you back to the old site to utilize those functions.
Yep. And it's exactly, it takes you out to the old site. It is actually the old site. It's not like a redone old site. It's the old site.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions we had. So I think we did timing excellent. We couldn't have planned that any better.
Very good. And I'm going to hang around. So if something comes up, you know, throughout the rest of the call, I will be here at the end to answer anything that might have occurred.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for taking a peek at concierge, and then if you know, a CBS would be beneficial, again, I'm around if you would like to do that. And I'm going to go on mute with that.
Okay.
Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you.
All right. So now we're going to get into my piece of the users groups, where I'm actually going to talk about doing lookups and searches in the system. So basically what we're looking at here is an 8.4 web client. That's really going to be my focus, but the search functionality that I'm going to go over is actually covers pretty much from 8.1 all the way up to the 8.4 version. So the items I'm going to go over, if you have a different version, you'll still be able to utilize the majority of what I'm going to talk about, but I'm not going to, you know, say you can't do this in 8.1 or you can't do this in 8.0. I'm just going to kind of go over it and try it in your own system if you don't have one of the newer versions. But you know, if it doesn't work, then you know your version doesn't cover it. But for the most part, what I'm going to go through should be versatile for most of the more recent versions. So basically what we're talking about here is, how do I find records in the CRM? Most of us know about the standard lookups, but there is some areas in the standard lookups that we can adjust to help us get different or additional data out of the environment. I'm also going to kind of touch on the speed search also. So when I'm looking for a record, so I want to find a specific record in the system. When I want to find a specific record, you want to do your lookups from this left navigation or if you're actually on the level that you want to look up, you can use the magnifying glass right at the top left. So you have a couple ways of doing it. Now, I like to use the left navigation myself personally because one of the things with the web is everybody wants speed, right? We're in this instant gratification time of our lives, and because everything is at our fingertips anymore. So I don't like to, if I want to search for an opportunity, I've seen a lot of people actually click on opportunities and then do a lookup. You don't have to do that. You can actually do a search on anything in the left-hand side that you have access to, and that's in any of the drawers, no matter where you're currently open at on your web page. So I can do a lookup on opportunities even though I'm on the account. So I can actually do a lookup right here and then find my opportunity and then navigate to that group list on the opportunity level and then my record specifically. So that is one quick tip that I have seen a lot, specifically new users, but a lot of people start out the system thinking they have to go somewhere to do a search, and you don't have to do that. And that kind of rises Infor CRM up above some of the other software that I've been exposed to, like some of the ERPs. You actually have to go to the customer maintenance to do a search, and this way you don't have to do that. You can actually go right in here and just start working in the lookups. So on the standard lookups, meaning that left-hand side, right-click, do a lookup. This lookup is looking for a specific record, and it's looking for a record on the entity. So an individual record, right? So this means I'm looking for a specific account or a specific contact or a specific opportunity or a specific set of opportunities. And this lookup is looking for that record type of a lookup, not for content somewhere that might be an answer to a question I have. So this allows you to do that lookup based on several things. Number one is you have multiple fields that you can actually choose from. And those multiple fields allows you to pick which field. So if you only have certain limited information that you need to search on, phone numbers, maybe a certain state, a city, that type of thing, you can actually do that based on changing your field. So I can say I want to look up the main phone number of this account, but I actually only have the last 4 digits. So what that means is I can do phone call, and if I only have the last 4 digits, I can use this contains, and I can type in, I don't know if I'm going to find anything, but I can type in those last 4 digits, and it's going to give me all the accounts where the main phone has these 4 digits in it. So it can be part of the area code, part of the middle code, I don't know what that is, the middle one, and then, or the actual defined last 4 digits. So it's going to look where that 1, 2, 3, 4 is anywhere in that main phone. So it's going to give me a whole list. So what this allows you to do then is gain a bigger or broader set of results. So using contains, you get more information. If I use any of the other operators here, starting with or equal to, it's going to actually limit my result listing. So I generally recommend always having contains as my default. And I'm going to show you where that's at. But you can set that default so that no matter where I do a lookup, it's going to come in with contains so that I don't have to change it. And then I can do my lookup based on whatever field, and that contains stays right here. It doesn't adjust. I do have the option to change those and add whatever condition I need to use for my lookup. So that is using the conditional area. I did want to show you that using the conditional area gets you some different information. So right now I'm going to go looking at the account name, and I'm going to look up Abbott. And I'm using my contains. And I'm going to click my search. And when I find my information, you can see I have 24 records here. Now, if I go down through here and I say, let's say I want to get looking up the Abbott Industrial specifically, I can go in and change my lookup to where it just contains industrial. Or I can even go so far as say Abbott space industrial and hit search. And what that does, it's going to pull up any account that has industrial in the name, right? So I can measure my searches based on how much information I'm looking for, how broad that information is. You also have the capability of adding items. So I can say my account contains Abbott, and so you can add listed conditions. So you can have multiple conditions on your lookups. And I can say it's Abbott and the state is equal to or contains Ohio. Well, in this case, I'm going to do equals because I want just the Ohioans. I don't want anything, a state that has OH in it if it happens to be in the system. So now I've limited this to all the Abbotts in Ohio. So you can do multiple conditions on your lookup. So you're not limited. It's almost like making a little mini group or quick group using that. Just like when you make your groups in general, you can have multiple conditions on your conditions tab. You can do the same thing in your standard lookup. So that allows you to work through that. One of the reasons why I go with contains is, for an example, for an account name, when you're looking up something, you don't always know how it was entered, or you might have forgotten how it was entered. Apostrophes, periods, commas, those type of things, or even abbreviations can impact your search. A good example is Saint. So if I'm looking for St. Lawrence High School, I'm looking it up like this, St. Lawrence. Well, what if it was put in the system as ST? Or what if they put it in there as ST period? You know, I may not know how it's set on the lookup, or in the account. So I'm actually, most generally, the kind of search I would do, the less I put in here with contains, the more results I'm going to get. So if I put in just Lawrence, I'm going to get anything that might have ST period, or any spelling configuration. So I use a common word or something that would be in there full length to be able to get the information. And if it has or potentially could have an apostrophe or a comma, I will put everything like to the left of the comma or to the right of the comma. I'm not going to put the comma in there just in case somebody didn't put it in there, like, you know, Simplesoft Inc., Simplesoft comma Inc., or it could be Simplesoft comma Inc. period. So the less you put in, the more you're going to get back in results. So with these lookups, one of the other things that you can do is you can actually change the layout, and that change layout is per person. So this is not an overall or global configuration. This is something that you can do as a user. So each person that logs in has the capability. And all this lookup is driven by is based on a group. So these fields that show up here in this vertical drop down are all columns in a group, like an Excel spreadsheet column header. This is all those header names on that group that you have assigned as my lookup. So the lookup layout is, as a default, comes in as the all groups. So on the accounts level, the lookup is based off of the all accounts group. On the contacts level, it's based on the all contacts group, and that goes all the way through to the leads. So everything is the all group out of the box. Now that can be changed, and that change is available up under the tools and options. So up in the black bar area, if you go to tools and then drop down to options, you will come to the configuration area that is user configuration. So this again is specific to each user and not global. But you'll notice in this top gray bar, there are some tabs. And if you look, you'll have a general, and then you'll have this group tab. The group tab is where the lookups are maintained. And if you look down through here, under group options, you're going to see 3 drop-down fields. The first one is the main view. So the main view equals anything you see over here in this left navigation. So if I click that drop-down, it's giving me the opportunity, it actually holds more than that, but it gives me the opportunity to adjust the lookup for anything that is that I might need to do a lookup from the left navigation. So I have account, I have contact. I would focus just on the ones you see over here on the left side. So there's contact. As you scroll down, you're going to see the contract. You're going to see, keep going here, you'll see there's lead, there's opportunity. So every time I click on one of those, my view changes down here because it's focusing on that entity itself. So all these here on the left-hand side items are called entities. So right now I'm looking at the main view opportunity, the default group. So if I click on opportunities, the group it takes me to is my open opportunities. You can adjust that here also. So if I'm on opportunities, this drop down is going to give me all the opportunity groups. So this one here is just which group does it go to when I click on opportunities. But down here at the bottom is your layout, your lookup layout. So right now you'll notice, like I said, this one is still set to default, which is all opportunities. But when I do this drop down, it actually gives me all the opportunity groups that are available that I can utilize. So one of the things that I like to do is set up a group that is specifically for my layouts, and I'll call it default layout lookup. And if I go back to account, you're going to see that under the account tab. So this is my default lookup group. So this group is only used for my lookups. That's all it's used for. I don't use it to filter data. I don't use it for anything else. I use this just to drive my listing for this account lookup. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So basically this default lookup group, when I go into my lookup and I do this drop down, these are all my column headers for that group. So this default lookup group starts with account, next field is customer ID, next field is city. So you can start to see how that all pulls together and drives this lookup for you. So if I go to that group, we can actually adjust how those fields are displayed to me in my lookup. Down below is the final item. This is that condition I was talking about. So if I change this to starting with, which is the default, so whenever you come into a new system, it always has starting with as the default. But if I make that change, save the record, and then do my lookup, you're going to notice now it comes in with starting with. So I can actually tell the system I want it to always default to that condition of contains. So I highly, highly recommend this. This is my favorite just because I can get a better result list this way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go to this default lookup group, and I'm going to show you how we can control that lookup. So I'm going to go into my accounts, and I'm going to go to the default lookup layout. And here's my group up here at the top. So if you have any experience in creating groups, this will be an easy for you because all we're dealing with are the headers. That's all we really care about on this group. But when you're looking at this, you can see it's account, customer ID, city, state, main phone, right? That's the layout order. And my lookup matches that order, as I've shown multiple times here, but account, customer ID, city, state, main phone. So the order matches, order vertically matches the order horizontally. So I'm going to go in and edit that group. And I'm going to show you if I make a change to my layout. So right now I want my main phone to be right after my account. So I can actually adjust that, put main phone second column, hit OK, changes my layout, go back to my lookup, and my layout is immediately changed. So you can drive that order of on your vertical drop down to be the ones that you use the most, and you can get rid of the ones that you don't. So if you don't ever search by subtype or search by status, you can get rid of those. You don't even have to have them in your group at all, and that will shrink that list to make it the usable items. But if it ever changes, all you have to do is go in and change that group, and it'll change your layout. And this is on every level. So if you do a lot of searches in contacts, I recommend having that lookup be customized to your best use, because you may only want to look up with email addresses or phone numbers. So that allows you to do that. One other item I kind of want to pull to your attention is you can grow this lookup to be a little more aggressive than just the account level. So if I scroll to the right, you're going to notice I added some contact information here. So I've added first name, last name, and email to my account lookup list. What that means is I can cross entities when I do a lookup. So if I do a lookup now, and I tell it I want to actually find any account with an email address that contains test. So now it's looking in the contact table under the email field. Even though I'm doing an account search, this will actually bring me a result set of any account level with the email address containing test, right? So one thing you'll notice, though, I am on the account level. I can, and this is kind of extending our training here, but I can actually set this up to take me to the contact level if I want it to. So I can change my lookup group to call the contact level as a link. So in other words, it'll allow me to click on it to go somewhere. Like these are a link here where I can actually click on it to go to that record. So that's something I can actually do within my group, and I'll show you that real quick. That is a very simple thing to do. So I'm going to edit my group again, go to my layout tab. I'm going to scroll right. Here's my contact, 3 fields, right? So I'm going to tell it on my last name, I'm actually going to edit this column. Down here at the very bottom, you're going to see entity linked. I'm going to mark that one. And when I hit OK, and then hit OK again, when the group reloads, that last name is going to be a URL. Now when I scroll right, I can click on it, and it will actually take me to that contact entity. So I did an account search and found a contact. So you can adjust these lookups to be as powerful as you need them to be. And again, this is looking up a specific record. So that is that's how to customize your lookup, how to customize that set of fields that you have available to you, how to work with your conditions, and also how to work with adding additional entities to that lookup to embrace a little bit more on the lookups itself. So if I go back, so we just had a quick question, and I'm going to do it while I'm here because it's so quick, and it's about changing that, adding that link. So in my layout, on my group, on any of my main entity level fields, so account, contact, an opportunity like an opportunity ID or an opportunity description, I can actually link that record to the actual web URL. And what I did was I clicked on my item that I wanted to link, and I went down to edit, and I just want to click this entity linked checkbox. That turns that field into a URL so that if I click on it, it'll take me directly to that record. It does need to be something that is a record, like contact. It has to be the opportunity. It can't be a date field or something along those lines. So that is the standard lookups. Everything I covered, changing the lookup layout, changing the group, assigning a different lookup group to be my lookup, changing that condition, all that is available on all the entities. So when I go to my contacts, my leads, I can have a default lookup group on each of those levels, change it in my options, and then that's going to be the lookup that pops up when I go in to do a search. So that is the lookups in general. The next thing I'm going to look at is speed search. So speed search is up here at the top right-hand corner, and speed search is geared a little differently. So where the standard lookup is looking for a record, speed search is more looking for content. Now, you can use it to search for a record. I don't recommend it unless you're trying to cross entities between the account and contact level to the lead. So if you're trying to find out if a record is anywhere in the system, then speed search would be where you'd want to go. So if you're not sure if this record you're trying to find is a lead or if it's an account, then doing a speed search is going to look in both those areas at the same time. So that is where looking for a record does show better if you use the speed search, because otherwise, in general, the accounts and contacts are completely separate from the leads. They don't intersect at all. So if I wanted to find an account, or if I don't know if a record I'm trying to find is an account or lead, I would actually have to do 2 searches through the standard lookup. But if I do it over here in speed search, I can actually do 1, and it's going to give me whether or not it's an account or it's a lead. It's going to give me that record. So for an example, up here in speed search, I can look up just the word test for an example. And when I do this speed search, it's actually going to look deeper than a record. So it's not looking at just accounts or contacts. It's also looking in the body of a note that somebody might have added to the system, or an email they might have saved, or even an attachment document. It actually will go into the body of a document and look at text in that document. So it is extremely aggressive kind of searching. And it becomes very helpful if somebody calls in and says, hey, I got a problem with this product. It's throwing this error. So if I put that error in my search, and if it's been dealt with before, came in as a question from a customer or something, it's going to pop up here, and then I could potentially then trace it down to the results or the final resolution for the potential error. So that's where the speed search really has the more aggressive search capabilities. This is kind of like an advanced search in, like we were talking about, the Extreme or the Concierge, where you can look for something and you can filter that search to, specific areas like documentation or KB articles. This is that same type of concept. So you'll notice as you look at the results that it tells you where it came from. So over here in the source column, they found a contact with the word test. We found an attachment that has test in the body of the attachment. Here's another attachment. Here's contact, history. Here's a history record. It was a phone call. And here's the notes. It was actually part of the notes area. It was just test. So you can see how deep this actually goes. And you'll also notice it gives me a certain number of records. So because it is so aggressive, it does need to meter the results that it pulls back. Otherwise, you're going to get thousands of results. So it does also have a advanced, and there is some defaults that are set on automatically, like what you see here where it only pulled back 25 pages or 25 results. So I can look through those results and it will then load them, because being on a web page, you don't want to draw in a lot of information because it's moving over the internet, and it'll just take a little bit longer to get to you. So it does meter that result list for you. Now to adjust that, well, let's back up. So if I found what I'm looking for, and I want to go to this record right here, this second level contact, I can actually click on the record and it will take me to that record specifically. Come on. Oh. Here, always allow. Gotta love Edge. Oh, great. Edge loves me. But it will take you right to that record. Come on, will you go to the account? Nope. Oh, wow. Okay, I should have tested this before our meeting. I did not test this, and I'm using Edge, so I bet if I used, well, here's something. So this one up here was an attachment, this top one. So I actually clicked on that, and it allowed me to open the attachment. So here's the attachment where my information was embedded. So I can actually open that attachment right here for my speed search. And once you open up this browser to the pop-ups, it'll allow me to go to the record itself. But there's my attachment that it was looking for, that it located, I should say. It actually allows me to open it without having to navigate to that record and then find the attachment. It gives me the actual attachment. And it's the same thing here, but I haven't used this web client on this browser before, so that's why it's not allowing me, but it will take me directly to that contact. One of the other things you can do up here in the top right, you're going to notice this link called Advanced. And if I click on that link up here beside the search button, it'll give me some additional information. So you'll see here's where I can actually, down here at the bottom of the header, I can actually control how those results are fed back to me. So it can give me the top 25, or I can actually tell it to give me more. Just understand that if you tell it to give you all, the potential for a load time is going to be there, because it's looking at histories, it's looking at, the emails and attachments, it's looking at the whole world. So I definitely recommend keeping it to the high 25, and that's going to be the high percentage. So if it found, the 100 of them or more, it's just going to give you the top 25, but more than likely it's going to be the more common ones it's going to give you. You'll notice over here on the left that you can actually control the fuzzy match. So fuzzy match is some misspellings might be in the information. It might give you a Becca instead of Rebecca, that type of thing. So it's kind of like a fuzzy match. So it allows you to do that type of lookup here. And you also notice there's a drop down that allows you to build on your search. So you can get some pretty granular searches through this speed search. Most generally people leave it to this one where it's defaulted. I've really not seen a whole lot of people really get into this search, but it is here you can do that. The other way you can adjust your search and kind of meter that feedback on your results is through where are you looking for the information. So if you don't use some of these areas, or that it's not going to be in those areas, you can actually toggle the checkboxes on or off depending. So for example, notice my sources down here contain attachment, contact, and history. If I remove the attachment toggle and hit search again, then all my results are going to filter out attachments. So it's not going to be looking in my attachments anymore. So you can actually control where it's searching for that information, and that will help a lot with making your feedback a little bit quicker. And then you can also filter the information. So I can tell it, it's fairly limited over here. It's not everything. I mean, there's quite a bit, but there's quite a bit. But you can filter by any of these, and notice it's a like. So I can say, give me everything where it's like Abbott. So where the account name is like Abbott. So now if I hit the search button, everything I see is going to be about Abbott. So here's Abbott, Abbott, Abbott. So I'm filtering based on a specific account set. So it could be parent-child accounts, where the parent account and the child account may have some records that have similar information that I'm looking for. So I can actually do that just by filtering my speed search. So it is quite powerful, and how deep and how powerful you want to make it really depends on that advanced area up here. If you ever run into questions on the searches and what can I do here, always remember that you have the contextual help. So everywhere I go, you're going to see this little question mark up here in this top gray bar on the right is a little question mark. So if I click that, it's actually going to give me contextual help on using speed search. So you'll notice there's some information here on how to utilize that. And if I go back to my search and even open up one of my lookups, you're going to find I have that same contextual question mark here. If I click on that, it's going to give me help on using lookup. So definitely, if you have questions or issues, I recommend using the contextual help, because that's really going to help drive you to your question answer area. So that is using speed search and using lookups. And I think I have gone through all my stuff. So
we can open it up for
yeah.
questions. Does anyone have anything, questions on what we covered there?
We did all that, so that's good. So I'm actually going to unmute everybody. And if anybody has any questions or anything they would like to discuss, or you're still welcome to put it in chat if you like. So anybody have anything they'd like to ask or go over?
While we're waiting on some people to fill in the chat with questions, I was going to touch on, if you go to, and I will send these links in the follow-up email, but we are going to fill out and have begun filling out our calendar of events. We're going to host a webinar each month. There'll be a shorter 45-minute to an hour webinar where we pick a topic and kind of take deeper dives. Our next one that's coming up in February is actually a follow-up to this users group webinar, where we're going to look at making some custom filters and you know, an even more deeper dive into how you can utilize all the custom options and fields in here. So be sure to check out our calendar of events. Again, I'll send the link in the email, and it looks like we have a question here, so go ahead, Terry.
No, I covered that one already.
Oh, you did already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kelly asked about going back and linking an entity, and I read through that since I was right there.
Great.
So that actually has been covered.
And our next, we're going to do a users group like this once a quarter. Our next one will be an on-site. It's going to be targeted for April, so just keep your eye out for more details on that. And if your company is interested in being the host site to host that luncheon users group, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my contact information will be in the follow-up email we send. And I have links in there if you'd like to schedule a personalized CBS with Stacy. I have her email in there. I have the links to the portals, the concierge, and the campus. And I have the link to subscribe to our blog and our YouTube channel, and a link to the event. So there's lots of good info coming. And I'll also include a link to this recorded training for anyone who wants to follow up on anything Terry or Stacy covered.
So Stacy said she has some additional information if we wanted to go over the campus information. Had some questions on that, how to get to the education and the campus. She has the information ready if we'd like to do that.
Sure.
I think that would be fine. I'm going to make you presenter, Stacy, and let you take off and show us what you found.
Super. Thank you very much. So they've moved a couple of things around, which, as I said, they they update like every couple of weeks. And I did find that along with some of the other information that's kind of not on my profile, but I want to show you where to find it. So did you come with me?
Sure did.
Okay. So right up under here is this 9-dot app menu. And in here, for one thing, you can get back to the portal right here. And then this is the actual enhancement request system where you log your enhancement. It's very similar to logging an incident or an incident. There's question and answers type things that you got to go through. And then under here, there is for you guys a link, an actual link to Campus. So I went and took a look and wanted to show you what's available currently for CRM. So all of this is going to be self-paced. So you know, they say self-directed here, but it's all pretty pretty self-directed as far as that goes. So you go through, you do a registration, I think just simply so that they know what you're utilizing. And then, there's just courses. This is, navigating, an overview. There's the configuration of the back office extension version 2. So, again, it's broad spectrum, like it covers just about everything. But I think it would be pretty easy to get through. You can pause, and if you get a phone call or something, you can pause and go back to it. So, but this is the stuff that's available out there. And then it does take you also from Concierge, if you did a search right here for campus, you can, it takes you to a registration page, so a login request for campus. If you don't have a login at all for Concierge, you would have to go back. So anyway, so that's answers to those questions. I'll send this page out for Jessica to include within the information that she's sending. So I think that was it. Just wanted to catch up on those couple of questions I didn't have for you.
Well, that's great. All right. Does anybody have anything else? If not, then I think we can. Yeah, we can wrap up and give you back a little bit of time in your day. And we appreciate everybody showing up on our user groups, and we're going to be having these about once a quarter. So you're going to be seeing and hearing more from us on this area of just general. So we're going to be giving you as much information as we can through these users groups. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to email us and let us know.
Yeah, take the survey. It's a 4-question survey. It shouldn't take very long at all, and that's where you can definitely provide some feedback on today and future events that you'd like us to do. So we would appreciate that time as well. You'll see that this afternoon.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and hope you have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.